Hello, 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 people. So just want to check you guys can hear me. So give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. There is a few seconds delay, I know, on this. So let me know if you're out there. World, come in, world. Buki, hello. How are you doing? Oh, we got some good news there. Fabulous. Okay. I shall share with everybody else when they arrive because it usually takes a little bit of time for people to arrive. So as you arrive, we have Ashley Green. I'm always delighted to see Ashley Green. Ashley, I did reply to your message on YouTube a few minutes ago. So if you haven't seen that, or maybe half an hour ago, if you haven't seen that, pop on and have a look. Hi, Andrea. Welcome from Nebraska. Super cool. Juna's back. Yay, we got Juna. Saruv, hello. Welcome back. Avik, awesome. Oh, Henil, everyone's appearing. This is so exciting. Mandar, welcome. Andrea Johnson, amazing. NMTA, brilliant, awesome. So, whilst we're waiting for maybe a couple of minutes for other people to arrive, have a think about this whilst we're going through the session today. I'm currently planning my roadmap for more videos. I'm going to be refreshing some of the videos that I have on my YouTube channel at the moment. I'm super happy with the content, but my style and my aesthetic, I've learned to use editing software and all sorts of things recently. So I'm going to update those videos so they just look a bit cooler. They look a bit naff to me at the moment. I think that's a British term. I don't know if you Americans know what naff means. It's a bit rubbish. So I'm going to be updating them, but whilst I'm doing that, I also want to do some new content. Now I have some ideas for things that I would want to do, but I would love you guys to also let me know what you would like to see as far as my content is concerned. So feel free to send me messages on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on here, and just let me know, are there any gaps in my content? Are there any things that maybe you see other coaches have done and you'd like to know what my opinion is, or anything where there's a giant gap as far as information is concerned and you would like it filled, because I will try and have a look and see whether I can do that for you. Okay, so why don't we get going? Hopefully everyone else arrives when they're ready. So I am Gigi and I am the Amazon interview whiz, which I hope you guys know because you have probably found me from my YouTube channel. I was a senior leader at Amazon and of course an interview bar raiser. I now run my own interview preparation academy. Basically, when I was interviewing a bar raising, I realized that I could tell those people that had had coaching, they did a lot better than others. And then I discovered how much one-on-one interview coaching is, and it's very expensive. And I didn't think that was necessarily fair, and I knew there was a way of making it much easier to get access to for everybody, and that's through digital. So my Amazon Interview Whiz Academy is a digital program that will get you prepared for pretty much everything you might face when it comes to the Amazon interview. And if you hang on until the end, I will tell you about an awesome freebie associated with my academy that I'm going to give you. I'm going to run this a little bit differently today, and bear with me, guys. First thing is, I do have my cup of tea with me. I'm British, we gotta have tea. So apologies, I will be swigging from my tea occasionally, although I'm sure it will go cold. The other thing is, getting your questions answered by me is now going to cost you on this forum, and it's going to cost you in the currency of thumbs up. I am determined to crack this YouTube algorithm, and as I understand it, thumbs up are very helpful. So if you would like me to answer your question, I require thumbs up. At least 6, I think. If you have a really complicated question, you can pay me more thumbs up. So please guys, give it a thumbs up and let's see whether we can get this video boosted on the algorithm. I will not be answering technical questions. There are about 250 different job families in Amazon, and no one human being can be a technical expert in all of those. I was a bar raiser. My expertise is in the leadership principle in interview strategy, so I will not be doing technical questions. I will also try to avoid questions that are very, very specific to particular job families. they're not helpful for everybody, and I want to make sure that everybody gets as much value out of this time together as possible. And then the last thing is, please don't say, I am interviewing for a program manager role. Any tips, please? Because of course I have tips. I've had 2.5 hours worth of them, and they're all on the YouTube channel. So if you're just looking for kind of general stuff, just go surf the YouTube channel. It's all in there. All right, I can see some awesome thumbs up there. That's genius. Okay, so I think on that note, we're ready to get started. I've covered everything. So what I will do is I will go through the comments box here on the right. I will pick up questions and try and answer them. I will say welcome to people because it's nice to welcome people. And if people have lovely news for me, I will call that out for all of you as well. So let's get going. Oh, this is Deepak's question from the Monday session, which I didn't shut down. So I'm going to shut that down now. Righty-ho, let us go to the top because we had lots of hellos. Let me just scroll through and see what I can find. So, Buki, we have a moment of glory in the sun for you. I would like everybody to know that you have managed to land a job after 4 rounds. 4 rounds is a lot. I respect people who make it through 4 rounds. I had to go through 4 rounds. Actually, no, I lie. I went through 3 rounds. Bad Gigi. I went through 3. 4 rounds. It's impressive. That certainly shows commitment and tenacity. Buki, congratulations. Well done. Excellent job. Everybody, thumbs up and claps for Buki. Amazing. It is tough to get a job at Amazon. Brilliant achievement. Congratulations. You should be very proud. Okay, let's see. I'm hoping we'll have some more of those. Right, let's scroll down to where I left off. Ah, Buki, you're a Masterclass. You're one of my candidates from the Amazon Interview Wiz Academy. Oh, hang on, let's have a look at what role you got. A communication specialist for Amazon Flex. Flex are on fire as well. They're hiring massively. Prime Air is hiring massively as well. There's a couple of teams that are really going for it. Flex is one of them. Congratulations, great job. Amazon Flex is an awesome place. And I'm so pleased that my masterclass has helped you there. Delighted. Okay. Right. Okay, Ashley Green. Different Ashley Green then. Apologies. Okay. Let's see what we've got. That's what we got. Juna, where's my thumbs up? Do me some thumbs up now and I'll answer your question for you. I'm going to assume you're going to do it. I'm telling you, I'm requiring payment. I don't know if thumbs up are a currency anywhere else in the world, but they are going to be a currency in the world of GG. So let's just put that up for you, Juna, and I'm going to assume you're going to give me my thumbs up in retrospect. Okay, your recruiter told you your debrief was delayed by another week. But you now have another offer that you need to respond to by Monday. Oh, well, you have another offer? I mean, let's just start out with, you have a job offer, Juna. I mean, that, even if it's not an Amazon job offer, that's brilliant. Congratulations, well done. Can you ask to expedite the results? Will it hurt me? You can absolutely, well, I don't know whether you can ask to expedite the results exactly. It definitely won't hurt you, but I would at this point go for transparency with your recruiter. Let your recruiter know that you do have an offer from another company, that you do need to give them an answer, and that you would very, very much like to be able to get the outcome of your interview with Amazon. Amazon is your preferred company. Right? In this conversation, Amazon would be your first choice, but you do need to let them know by Monday. And of course, if it's a no from Amazon, what you don't want to have done is missed out on the opportunity of this other company. Let them know that, and then it'll be down to your recruiter to see whether they can expedite the process. But I would be pretty clear with the recruiter that the Monday is a very hard deadline with this other company. So please, could they do something to bring the process forward? Now, I have to say, it is really, really hard to organize debriefs. Like there's 5 people, they've all got ridiculously busy schedules, meetings come in at the last minute. I can remember very, very clearly my diary moving around all the time when I was interviewing and bar raising. So I'm not sure how likely it is that they'll be able to bring it forward, but you absolutely should say it. And in no way will it harm your chances. Absolutely not. Okay, so fingers crossed. I mean, that's exciting. You've got at least one in the bag, which is an amazing position to be in. Congratulations. All right, let's move on then. Right. Oh, thank you, Juno. I just checked. You did your thumbs up. You made your payment in retrospect. Awesome. Okay. What else have we got here? Okay. Saruv, yeah. I mean, that is just an impressive set of thumbs up. Let's be honest. I mean, if for no other reason, I put this up there. This is the standard, people. This is insisting on the highest standards. Boom, boom, segue into the answer to your question, Saruv, because the LP behind, tell me about a time you could have done better, is insist on the highest standards. So you would be asking yourself at the end of a project, how do I feel about that project? You know, the expectation at Amazon would be that every project you finish, you will look back at your performance and you will ask yourself, how could I have done better? And they want an example where you've looked back at a project and actually you've thought, yeah, I don't feel so great about that. I think there are a number of things that I could have done better. And that's insist on the highest standards. So, for example, Saru, if you had only put 3 thumbs up and I had decided that that wasn't good enough because it's not 6, therefore I'm not going to answer your question, you would have looked back and thought, I could have done better. I could have given Gigi 6 thumbs up. So that's what it is. It's insist on the highest standard. You obviously have that in your DNA because you went well above and beyond with the number of thumbs ups. So congratulations, you got that one in the bag. Moving on then. Okay. Oh, this is a controversial question. All right, I'm going to go for this one because I am feeling brave. Okay, let me take a swig of my tea first for sustenance. Okay. Abdulaziz 203, what are my thoughts on PIP at Amazon? Well, I have taken a number of employees through the PIP process. I happen to have, in Amazon standards, a pretty large team. I ran a team of over 25 people. So that's pretty big in Amazon standards where they try to actually have very flat teams. I've taken a few people through the performance improvement process in Amazon, and I know that when I was taking those people through it, it was with every single intention to help them lift their game and help them achieve the bar that they needed to achieve to continue on to have a successful career at Amazon. I felt very good about my ethical approach to it, and I certainly built their plans, in order to kind of, through the PIP process, basically, it's a couple of stages. It may have changed a little recently, but the PIP process is effectively 2 stages where your manager will set out a set of plans for a fixed period of time and with some goals and key stages, and you need to meet those goals and key stages in order to get yourself off the PIP. If you don't do it by the end of phase 1, there's another phase. Once you're in that second phase, it's obviously a lot harder. At the end of that phase, if you haven't achieved those goals, then there's a conversation to be had about whether this is the right place for you. So I always went into those with the most positive mental attitude. I think my success rate was about 50-50. I had about 50% of the people that I put through a PIP process who absolutely nailed it, managed to lift their game, and all of them, I think, are still at Amazon and went on to get promotions. The other half, we decided between us that actually this probably wasn't the right role for them, and they went on and found other roles in other companies, and actually I'm still in touch with them all because I try and stay in touch with all of my folks, and they are much happier where they are. So I felt good about the PIP process in Amazon. Now, I've never been through the PIP process in Amazon myself, so I can only talk about it from a manager's point of view. I cannot obviously talk about it from the perspective of an employee. If that question is somewhat loaded with some kind of noise that you've heard in the background about the purpose of PIP being a method to get rid of people, and that PIP is used to hit some kind of a percentage churn rate, I don't recognize that as a philosophy. No one ever said that to me at any point in my career at Amazon. Now, can I tell you hand on heart that no manager has ever done that no manager has gone into the PIP process without the goodness in their heart that I went into the PIP process with? Absolutely not. There's no way I could tell you that. And if I did, you wouldn't believe me anyway. But from a policy point of view, at no point does anybody sit down with a manager and tell them as soon as someone's on a PIP, the goal is to get them out the door. That is no conversation I ever had. There is no document I ever read that said that. So that's my take on it. As I say, it's a personal opinion, right? It's based on my own experience as opposed to something that is fundamentally true across the organization. So as always, with things like that, you've got to survey as many people as you can and get as many broad perspectives as you can, and then you draw your own conclusions about what you actually think is the truth. Okay, but thank you for the question. I enjoyed that one. I don't often get questions like that, so thank you. Right, so Buki, we've still got congratulations coming in for you here. I hope you're feeling good. Okay, what else? I love the fact that you guys chat in this as well. That's amazing. Okay, I'm scrolling down. There's so much chat. Chelsea Shepherd. You got the job, Chelsea. More thumbs up, people. We need some more thumbs up and some hearts. Chelsea Shepherd, well done. Very good. Congratulations. Delighted to have been able to help. Okay. This is so exciting. I'm feeling pumped today. Right, more thumbs up. Fabulous. Ah, Medi, you bought Working Backwards. Right, Medi, look. Look, here, mine arrived. I've got it too. So one of my plans for some of my videos is to actually go through the Working Backwards book and identify some of the key leadership principles and the scenarios and how those key leadership principles manifest themselves in the scenarios. So although obviously I cannot read excerpts from this book because that would be compromising copyright, I plan to have a look through this and see whether I can make a set of videos out of it, because I think if you can see how the leadership principles actually come to life inside of the organization, that would be really helpful for you guys to help to really understand those leadership principles. So bear with me, that is definitely on my roadmap for content, but I'm glad you bought it, Medi. Tell me, you'll probably get to finish it before I do. I'm terribly disorganized with things like this, so let me know how you like it. Okay, right, let's see what else we've got here. Mathis, thank you very much for my thumbs up. You are welcome, Saruv. Luca's here, amazing. You didn't ask the question, so you didn't give me thumbs up, but I expect you to at some point. Right, what have we got? 22101. Now, I'm not seeing thumbs up, but I gave Juno a go, so I'm going to give it to you as well. So let me just post this. All right. Obviously, you're going to give me the thumbs up now, right? So I'm going to give you the product and you're going to pay retrospectively. So you've got the phone screen with the hiring manager tomorrow. Your recruiter said it is a brand new team and couldn't talk about customer challenges or charter for the team, tech stack, etc. So you're going in blind. Any recommendations? Right. So this is a phone screen. So this is early round. So my big recommendation for you, 22101, is to not do what I usually tell people to do, which is I usually tell people to be really selfish with how they use question time at the end of an interview. I believe question time should, in the main, be used for you to find out whether this is a job that you'd like, a company you'd like, a manager that you would like, because you've got to be sure that this is a company you want to go work for, right? For you, because you know nothing, there's nothing you can do up front about that, right? You're going to have to talk through your resume if you're asked that question. You're going to have to talk through the why Amazon question. You're going to have to go through the leadership principles completely blind. There's nothing you can do about that. You're just going to need to focus on the job description and try and pull out the key leadership principles from your job description as best you can to give you some sense of the things that they will care about the most. And then at question time at the end, all of the things that you would have wanted to know ahead of it, like customer challenges, charter for the team, tech stack, use the end of your question time to get all of that information, or as much of that information as you can, so that when you go into round 2, hopefully you will be well armed with understanding some of that knowledge. But as far as, is there anything you can do to get that information before you go in with the hiring manager tomorrow? I suspect not at this stage. So focus on just your job description, get as much as you can from the job description in terms of guidance, and then go through the interview, and then at the very end, bang, ask those questions. And you might even want to make it clear that this was information that you were really trying to get ahead of the interview, but that wasn't available. So you're going to focus your question time on those key questions. Okay, good luck. Fingers crossed for you. I hope it goes well. And I'm going to check whether you gave me my thumbs up. I'm joking. Okay, so what do we have next? Sorry, I'm still looking. Okay, yep, I'm going to do this one. Hello, how are you doing? Welcome. I don't think I've seen you before. Gosh, how would I pronounce your name? Nanen? Something like that. Apologies if I've said that wrong, but I always like to at least attempt it. Okay. Where are my thumbs up? You tried to trick me. I'll let you go. Okay. Can you use the same examples in your phone screen interview for panel interviews? Okay, so my primary advice is if you can come up with new examples, then you should. Because the wider range of examples that you have, the more evidence you have, the more witnesses you have to your brilliance. But for most people, and this is the vast majority of people, unique examples all the way through the process is completely impossible. By the time you've got through, I don't know how many it's going to be, up to like 17, maybe even 20 questions through the entire process, most people are going to have to repeat at some point. So yes, you can use the same examples for your phone screen in your panel, but I urge you strongly to try and use them for a different leadership principle question. So most examples that everyone's going to come up with will have different aspects of different leadership principles, and some will be stronger within that example than others. So yes, you can use the same example and repeat, but really try and lean into a new aspect of the example that you didn't talk about before. So if you created some kind of a new process for your team, and you had to create the process and build the tools and the reporting, and you had to convince everybody to use it, and you had to train everybody to use it, and you had to QA everybody, and you had to remind them. In that example, you could use it for invent and simplify because you created the new process, the new tools, etc. Or you could also use it for earns trust because you had to convince everybody to use it, and you had to train them, and you had to QA and make sure that they were maintaining a good standard. So that example you could use for either of those two. If you used it for invent and simplify in the phone screen, then use it for earns trust in your panel. And then that way, although it looks like it's the same example, actually you'll be focusing on really, really different elements of it and actually knotting down into different leadership principles. And that will make it seem like it's an entirely different example, even though your situation is the same. Okay, I hope that was helpful for you. Thank you very much for that question. Okay, Nicole, welcome Nicole, all the way from Chile. Wonderful. I don't know if I've had anyone from Chile before, but absolutely, you're welcome. Thank you for joining. Still missing the thumbs up though, no guys, come on now. I'm gonna start cracking down here. Anyway, Nicole, we'll move on. When they ask about a time that you failed, what LP are they testing? Is it our write a lot or earns trust? You have an on-site next week for a BIE. I love BIE roles. They're so awesome. I love the BIEs that I've worked with. They're such smart people. They're so interesting. And actually I had someone contact me this morning landing a BIE role, which was so cool. She's a great person, so I'm delighted for her. Great role. Okay. Yes, it is an write a lot question. Now, when you're thinking about responding to an write a lot question, particularly if they're asking about failed, they're trying to understand basically the two parts of the process. Number one, how did you fail? Like, how did you get yourself into the circumstances in the first places? Because you weren't write a lot if you managed to get yourself into a situation of failure. Or maybe you were, and that failure wasn't necessarily anything that you could have controlled in the first place. So they're looking for that side of the coin. And then they're looking for the flip side of the coin, which is, well, once you failed, what did you do about it? How did you pick yourself up? How did you fix it? What was your attitude towards it? How did you make decisions that were better decisions than you made the first time in order to correct the situation? But they're trying to understand, you are right a lot. You know, everybody makes mistakes, and that's important to remember when you're talking about the failure question. You need to talk about a failure. Do not pretend that you've never failed, because no one's going to believe you. So definitely have a good failure question answer. But then the point is, how do you make good decisions after that failure to get yourself out of it? And most importantly, how do you belt and braces the situation so that number one, you never make that mistake again, and number two, anybody coming behind you doesn't make that mistake either. Okay, I hope that was helpful. Fingers crossed for your on-site next week, Nicole. I hope it goes well. As I say, I love BIEs in that role. It's an awesome role in Amazon. Okay, moving on. Okay, lots of congratulations for Chelsea, which is lovely. Ooh. Okay, I'm not sure I understand this question, so let me just read it closely. Okay, I think I understand what you're asking me. Gabrielle, you need to pay me some thumbs up. You need to pay me some thumbs up, dude. Okay, how do I feel about the idea that Amazon recruiters, I think you mean interviewers, collect evidence from the past of people that are supposed to be super fast learners and therefore keep being better every day? So I think you're talking, Gabrielle, about the hiring philosophy at Amazon. The hiring philosophy at Amazon, and the reason that they ask these behavioral questions, is they believe that the best evidence of what you've done in the past, in the future, is what you've done in the past. So if you have a great history of delivering great projects, delivering great results, earning people's trust, being a great owner, being really curious and trying to learn all the time, if you show that you've done that in the past, chances are you're going to do that in the future. Now, I personally think that's a great strategy for hiring, because you can be confident that the person that you're hiring is going to deliver for you. I mean, you can kind of think about it like a relationship, right? If someone's got a history of bad relationships and, they don't care about that. I won't go into detail, but if someone's got a history of bad relationships, you wouldn't pick up with them. You just wouldn't, because you'd say to yourself, this is probably not going to turn out well for me if there's a long history of bad relationships. Equally, if someone's got a history of really positive relationships, great friendships, great personal relationships. Everybody loves them. They're kind. They've got lots of evidence that they help people and they're thoughtful. You'd be thinking, okay, this looks promising, right? There's some really good evidence here that this person could be really positive in my life. It's the same thing with hiring. There's a lot of noise out there about companies should hire for potential. But the problem is with potential is you can't quantify it. It's not measurable. There's no evidence of potential, but there is evidence of delivery. And what you can then see is if you hear examples from a candidate of deliveries that kind of start like this, and then the next story they tell you is like this, and the next story is like this, and then another year later it's like this, you can see a growth trajectory in terms of their performance and their deliverables and the quality and the complexity. And that then tells you, great, this person's got a history of good delivery, and they've got a history of delivery that gets better and better and better. We want those people in our business. So I believe that that's the right hiring philosophy, and that it's good business to look for evidence of what people have done in the past and use that as your measure as to what you will anticipate they will do in the future. So I hope that answers your question, Gabrielle, and that I didn't pick it up completely incorrectly. If I did, sorry, try re-asking it a little bit later. All right, let's keep going. So, okay, good question. Okay. Mahith Shetty, you have given me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 thumbs up. Thank you. You qualify. So, for behavioural questions, will non-work related experience like volunteering for some organisations do, since you have less experience and haven't faced much of the situations at work? Yeah, so it's a really good question. So, for those people that do have a lot of professional experience behind them, I would definitely advise you stick with the professional experience, to the point that I was talking about with Gabrielle earlier. If that experience is there and super relevant to business, it becomes so easy for your interviewers to imagine that being delivered inside Amazon. But particularly for candidates who are junior and just starting out in that career, that can be really hard because they might not have much experience. So in that case, your interviewers are very well prepared for anticipating that you might not have that back catalogue of work to pull from, and will be comfortable and expecting you to try and pull from elsewhere. If people are grads, generally they'll pull from their school experiences, clubs, internships, but anything that you've done in terms of volunteering would be fantastic. Particularly if it's kind of, lots of volunteering organisations are quite commercial in their approach. So if you can meld those two things together, that would be brilliant. But I would be very, very confident that the leadership principles that matter at Amazon could be found in volunteering work. So absolutely, but you just need to think about how you create the bridge between the business language that will exist in the questions and the appropriate contextual language that will exist in your volunteering example. So making something up here, you might get asked about something to do with a customer. Now, maybe if your volunteering has been to build, building shelters for somebody somewhere, your customers are the people who are going to live in the shelters. So you would be thinking about, what do they need? What do they care about? What's their experience like? You would be customer obsessed with the person for whom you're going to be delivering this output. So as long as you can just be clear in your own mind how you're bridging from the business language of peers, managers, customers, those tend to be kind of their groups of people that they talk about in these questions. If you can match those to your groups of people in your volunteering experience, you will be absolutely fine. So I hope that helps. Good luck. Okay, Chess Fix, hello. Lovely to see you. Okay, what else have we got? Okay, Ashley Green. Only 4 thumbs up, Ashley, but all right. All right. Okay, you had 3 interviews, all from the same industry, recruiting. So all from the same job family. 1, a lead in technical and design, also a tech recruiter with 4 years experience, shadowed. Who was the bar raiser in this situation? I couldn't tell you, Ashley. It's impossible to know. And that's the thing about the bar raisers and everyone's desperation to know who the bar raiser is. In some cases, it's going to be easy. You know, I bar raised on, let's think of one. I bar raised on, why is this not coming to my head? I don't know, let's say SDEs. I did some SDEs. So I bar raised there. Now, if you saw a senior manager marketing on your panel when you're an SDE, loss prevention specialist was the one I was trying to grab in my head. I don't know why that didn't come out. But we're on SDEs now. So if you saw me rocking up at your interview and you're a software development engineer, you'd be looking at that going, oh, I've got a marketer on my loop. What the hell does a marketer know about software development engineering? And I can tell you very, very little. But I knew a lot about the leadership principles, and I can see through the context into the leadership principles. So you would know that I was your bar raiser. But very often, your bar raiser could easily come from the same skill set, but they're just from a different part of the organization. So you could be that SDE and you are an SDE working in Audible, and an SDE or a software development manager might come and be on your panel and be working in, I don't know, Prime Video or something. They've still got SDE developer in their job title. You don't necessarily know that one's in Audible and one's in Prime Video, but the other one's your bar raiser. So don't worry about it, Ashley. This is the most important thing I think I can tell you, people, is you just don't worry about who your bar raiser is, because to you it makes no difference. You will have exactly the same interview questions. You will have exactly the same things that they're looking for in your answers. The interview structure will be exactly the same, or at least it will deviate no more than it would deviate between other interviewers. You just focus on being the best version of you, focus on the best answers that you can get out there, and that's all you need to worry about, because your experience won't change in any way, whether you're meeting an interviewer or the bar raiser. Ignore everything else that you hear online about different strategies for being interviewed by a bar raiser, things that bar raisers are looking for that no one else is looking for. It's all, I won't swear because I have to self-credit these, I have to self-certify these. It's rubbish. Just be the best you can be. Treat every single interviewer as if they were the bar raiser, and you won't go far wrong. Thank you for the question, Ashley. Moving on then. Okay. Going. Okay. Hint, hello. Oh, I like your little thing. That's cool. You gave me 4 thumbs up. It's 6, people. 6 thumbs up. Okay. So you recently interviewed for the 2021 new Grad SDE. It seems like you've been put on a wait list. Yes. How likely are you to receive the offer eventually at this point in time? I'm sorry, I can't tell you. And I brought this up to tell you that I can't tell you. And no one can tell you, I'm afraid, hint. I know that must be very, very frustrating for you, particularly if you went through the whole process and managed to actually be bar raising. It must be very frustrating, but I'm afraid no one's going to be able to tell you what the odds are in terms of managing to land a role. So, put it in the bag, it's there. Get on with your life, and then hopefully someone will come along and tell you that there is now an opportunity for you to join Amazon. So that aside, congratulations for getting on the wait list. That's definitely an achievement in unto itself. So I'm sorry I couldn't tell you, but I wanted to tell you I couldn't tell you so that you don't worry about having to try and chase other people for an answer that you're never going to get. Okay, right, what else do we have here? Okay, so Andrea Johnson, I know this isn't a question, but I'm going to put this up for you because I think this is a really important point about kind of interview technique / strategy, which is Andrea mentioned that she used her lunch to take a walk and do some gardening. it helped to feel a bit refreshed for the second tranche. I absolutely agree, Andrea. I think you did the right thing. I remember my interview so clearly. It was 6 years ago now, and I could probably still walk you step by step exactly who I met and more or less what we talked about. I can still see those people in my mind's eye now. It's such a challenging process, and it's so exhausting just mentally trying to go through everything that you go through and say all you want to say, be concise, be specific, all of those things. So absolutely take your breaks. If your interviewer doesn't tell you, take your break, then you tell yourself to take your break. Get up from your desk, leave the room, go get some air, eat some food and refuel. It's really, really important part of interview strategy. You need to have water so your brain is hydrated, and you need food to make sure your brain is working properly. So I know that wasn't a question from anybody, but I just think it's really important as a strategy for interview success. Be fueled and be hydrated. I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's true. So thanks for the prompt, Andrea. Okay. Oh, Deepak. Oh, thank you. I'm an amazing Amazonian. Do you know what? I'm not an Amazonian anymore, but I will always be an Amazonian. It's crazy. It's crazy. Once you join Amazon, and it's the type of place where you've really enjoyed working, and guys, I really enjoyed working there. I know I don't work there anymore, but there are other reasons for that. I really enjoyed working there, and I will probably be an Amazonian until the day I die. So thank you very much, Deepak. That's really sweet of you to say so. That made me feel good. Okay. Nicole, you got your thumbs up in there. Well done. Well done. Okay. Okay, do we have any more questions? Okay, Brian's got 3 parts to his question, so I'm quickly reading through them. Okay, Brian, I'm going to do this for you, but next time I want thumbs up because I'm going through the whole of them and I'm not seeing your thumbs up. All right, so I love the way that you marked your questions 1 out of 3, 2 out of 3, 3 out of 3 in case anybody got in between you. That's smart. Okay, can you reuse stories from the prior phone screens? So contextually, guys, Brian's been through another loop already and hadn't, or at least another set of interviews and didn't get that role and has now been referred to a new role. So the question is, can you reuse those stories? So there gets to a point, I don't think that's even English, but you get to a point where you're going to have to. You're going to have to reuse stories because you've been through the whole process already and people have asked you all the questions that they've asked you. So as I said earlier, yes, you probably will have to reuse stories, but if you possibly can, try and reuse them for different leadership principles. Then you at least make them sound as if they're different stories because you're leaning into different aspects of the leadership of the story for a different leadership principle, and all that will be common is when you talk about the situation. Number 2, does this mean you will only have 1 phone screen for this role? I can't tell you, Brian. Different teams do it really, really differently. In some cases, people will have to go through the whole process again, end to end. In other cases, they won't, and the team are willing to truncate the process. There's no formal policy about it, actually. It's very much about how close the new hiring manager is to the old team, how similar the role is to the prior role. Those types of variables are what determines whether they want to take you through the whole process again or whether they truncate it. The best person to ask that question of is actually the recruiter that you're dealing with for this second role. Ask them whether you'll have to go through the whole process again or whether they'll be truncating it. Never be afraid to ask your recruiter anything, guys. It's just made me think of this. Never be afraid to ask. Nothing you say, unless it's offensive, nothing you say is going to be held against you. You are entitled to ask questions about the experience, so ask them. The worst thing that can happen is your recruiter can say, "I'm sorry, I can't tell you that." Well, then they can't tell you. You've lost nothing. But no one's going to hold anything against you if you're trying to understand and get some transparency on your experience and on the process. Okay, Brian, good luck. Gabrielle, thank you. I've got my thumbs up now. I appreciate that. Buki, you're on fire with these thumbs up. Can you just come back next week? I mean, I know you don't need to, but could you just come back and give me thumbs up? Okay. Let's have a look. And some people, you can change the color of your thumbs up as well. I've never worked out how to do that. Okay, right. Moving on. Okay, let me just read this one. Okay, let's have a look at this one. Arjun, hello. Also missing thumbs up, Arjun. Just so you know. All right, let's have a look. You have an interview for a senior product manager. Oh, it's an L7 and it's called senior product manager. That's interesting. Why is it not called a principal product manager if it's an L7? Just asking. With a hiring manager and you're waiting an update. You've interviewed already. Do I know how many more interviews there might be? I'm going to assume that the hiring manager interview was your first interview. Now, some teams will have the hiring manager do the first interview and then someone else in their immediate team doing a second interview and then on to loop. Other teams will have someone in the team do the first and the hiring manager in the second and then on to loop. And other teams will do one phone screen and one phone screen alone, which is why they would tend to have the hiring manager in that phone screen and then move candidates on to loop. Therefore, Arjun, I can't tell you. You might be in group 1 where the hiring manager goes first and then someone from their team and then loop, or you might be in group 3 where it's the hiring manager and then straight on to loop. Can't tell you. Again, I say the best person to ask this question of, and you should not be embarrassed to ask the question of, is your recruiter. Just ask them, like, how many rounds can I expect to go through? It's never going to be held against you. You are perfectly entitled to ask these questions about what your experience might be. One thing you guys need to remember in this is you are seen internally by Amazon as the customer. Your recruiters will talk about you as customers. Your recruiters are focused on the customer experience. Now, I know sometimes it doesn't feel like it, and I know sometimes the process has gaps, and I know sometimes it's not a great experience, but you are seen by the recruiting teams in this process as a customer, and therefore you should think like a customer. Would you as a customer want to know how long and when you can expect your parcel to be delivered? Of course you would, and Amazon will tell you that. Same goes as a candidate. There's no reason why you shouldn't be asking your recruiter, how many rounds could I expect to go through if I make it the whole way through the process? So ask your recruiter, Arjun. She will tell you. Why am I saying she? They will tell you better than I can. Okay, what else do we have here? DJ, good set of thumbs up. Well done, thank you. Tell you about a time where you were unsure what to do. Is that about judgment? So I'll write a lot, or is it about having to learn what to do? So learn and be curious. So the problem with that question, DJ, is to your point, it isn't particularly specific. It's missing an end bit as far as I'm concerned. So that should either read, tell me about a time where you didn't have enough data in order to make a decision as to what to do. That would be, I'll write a lot. Or it could be, tell me about a time where you did not have sufficient knowledge to do your job well. That would be a learn and be curious question. That to me, and I shouldn't cast aspersions on an interviewer, that to me is not a specific enough question to tell the candidate exactly what type of situation they should be talking about. There's nothing you can do about that, DJ. That was the question that you were asked, and you probably can't say to the interviewer, I'm sorry, I think you failed to articulate the question properly. Clearly you can't say that. So you make your best judgment about boom boom. Oh, there's irony in this, right? Unsure what to do, not sure what question, leadership principle to go for. Gosh, it works on so many levels. Take a punt. I would say in that situation, go for your strongest example. And if your strongest example is a time where you didn't have enough data to help you make the decision about the right course of action, if that's your strongest example, go for that one. If your strongest example is a time where you didn't have the right skills and knowledge to do your job well, go for that one, because the question is not specific enough from the interviewer to tell you which one of those they want, and that's on them. So sorry, I know that wasn't very helpful, but that isn't a well-structured question as far as I'm concerned. Ooh, might get told off by recruiters for saying that. Sorry, Amazon recruiters and hiring managers. Please still be my friend. All right, thank you, DJ. Okay. And Mita. So you have to raise the bar on every LP. No, you do not need to raise the bar on every LP. If you go, Mita, to my LinkedIn profile, if you go into the featured section of my LinkedIn profile, there is an infographic that I have featured there about exactly how the process works. Go have a look at that. I will try and summarize it here. So what they're trying to do is get an overall picture of how you perform against the leadership principles. And of that overall picture, they will make a decision as to whether you are raising the bar. So that overall picture is all 14 leadership principles. And they're going to make a judgment of, on balance, do you have more greens and ambers than reds compared to the average of the population operating at that level in Amazon at the time? Now, it's a little bit theoretical. They haven't got that little green-red thing for every single employee. We could have that conversation another time because that's quite a long one. Maybe I'll do a video about that. But they're looking for the overall performance on all 14 leadership principles. But there will be a number of key leadership principles for the role that you're applying for. And the hiring manager will want to see that you are strong on those leadership principles. Now, you don't have to have strength. You could have a mixture of strength and some strength in those key leadership principles. But if you're verging towards kind of mixed or concerns on those leadership principles, your hiring manager is not going to feel good about your ability to execute on that role. So what you'll really, really want to do is to look at your job description, dissect it, work out the references to the leadership principles on that job description, add up how many times you've seen a reference to a certain leadership principle, and the ones where you find most references in that job description are probably the key leadership principles. And you want to make sure that your very, very, very best examples lean into those particular leadership principles. So they will be looking for an overall picture, but they will be particularly focused on whether you are raising the bar on the key leadership principles that they care the most about in those roles. This is why I tell people to chance their arm and ask the recruiter what the key leadership principles are. It's about 50-50, guys. About half of people who come and tell me that they've asked that question actually get the answer, and the other half don't get the answer. But as I said earlier, there's no harm in asking. No one's going to hold it against you. Okay, so I hope that answered that question for you and cleared that one up. Gabrielle, okay, yeah, good question. I don't often get asked questions about PhD students. So our PhD, more thumbs up. Good man, well done. Your point is it the same type of thing with PhDs as graduates when it comes to the amount of work experience? Yeah, if you've been in school, whether you were in school as an undergraduate or a postgraduate, it doesn't matter. The context is what's relevant, and there you've been in an educational environment rather than in a professional environment. So yes, same rules apply. If you've not been in the professional environment and you've been in school, then you can absolutely use the experiences from school or volunteering as we had earlier on. Okay, cool. Let's move on. Okay. Let's just have a look. Oh, we've got 4 minutes left. I don't know where this time goes. It's insane. Let's see. Let me try and find one more to go through, and then I will hit you up with the freebie because everybody loves the freebie. Yes, okay. And Rita, I know we just covered yours off, but this is such a good question. I'm going to make this one the last one, and then I'll tell you all about the freebie. So if you messed up an answer for one of the leadership principles, but you answered that leadership principle in another question, would your response be considered? Yes, 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 absolutely. So the reason that they ask specific leadership principle questions is they are really trying to make sure they get that evidence. They don't want to leave it to chance. They want to make sure that they get that type of evidence from you, which is why they ask that leadership principle question. But any evidence of that leadership principle is used in that assessment for that overall picture that I was talking to you about. So what would happen in debrief in this case, Enmita, is your bar raiser will say, and let's pretend that that you're referring to dive deep, making it up. So your bar raiser will probably say, Billy, it's always Billy in my examples, Billy, you tested for dive deep and you didn't rate them particularly strongly here. What was the issue here? And Billy would explain why he felt that you weren't particularly strong on dive deep. And then your bar raiser will say, does anyone have any mitigating evidence to make us feel that Enmita is actually stronger on dive deep than Billy seems to think? And what will happen is anybody else who has interviewed you in the course of the process, who's in that room, if they have seen evidence of dive deep in your example that you gave them about, I don't know, let's say deliver results, those two tend to go hand in hand, they'll say, actually, yes, I've got some really good mitigating evidence. In my example about deliver results, Enmita was telling me this, that. I could see they dove really deep. They asked why. I got some really good evidence. Your bar raiser will go, actually, that sounds really compelling. So, Billy, I know you didn't have a great example, but how do we feel, group, about the evidence of dive deep? They'll probably say we feel a lot better. And then your calibration will be reflected based on all of the evidence rather than only what Billy came up with the question that maybe you didn't do so well on. Okay, so guys, time's up. So first of all, I'm going to thank you all for all of the amazing thumbs up. This was brilliant, love it. I'm going to keep doing this. And now I'm going to tell you guys about what I have to offer you as a freebie. So quite a few of the guys here have been on my leadership principle masterclasses. They are students in my academy, and I mentioned it at the beginning. I'm offering everybody my customer obsession leadership principle masterclass completely free. I offer it because obviously I want you guys to try my product. I put 700 hours into developing my course, and I want you to try it and I want you to love it. And of course, I would like you to invest in more courses. But even if you don't choose to do that, the customer obsession leadership principle, you all know, is the most important leadership principle to crack in Amazon. You are not getting into Amazon if your panel are not impressed with your customer obsession. So take that one, take it for free. I will not chase you up with marketing. I know that's mostly what people do when they give freebies. They chase you for marketing afterwards. I'm a marketer, so this hurts me. I don't do that. It's yours, it's a gift. If it's not good enough to convince you to buy into the rest of the course, then that's on me. So there it is. I always get confused about the direction. AmazonInterviewWizAcademy.com. Go snaffle yourself the Customer Obsession Masterclass. I hope you enjoy it. I worked very hard to create it, and I hope it helps. I will let you guys go now. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for all of the thumbs up. Please come back next week. To the guys that got roles, congratulations. That is amazing. To those of you who didn't, you still did so well to get as far as you did. So many people didn't even get as far as you did. So you've got to feel proud about that. Anyone with interviews coming up, fingers crossed, good luck. I will love you and leave you all. Thank you so much for joining. Please be safe, and I really hope to see you all soon. I'm back again Monday and then Wednesday again. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.